All right, guys. I know the last lesson was very long and grueling. The good news is this one is going to be quick and easy. Today, we're talking about the business cycle. The business cycle is a type of diagram that tracks real GDP, shown on the vertical axis, over time, shown on the horizontal axis. Now, it is true that most countries' GDP will increase over time. This is usually due to technological advancements that make it possible to produce larger outputs more quickly than before. But first of all, there's no guarantee that will increase. And second of all, even if it does steadily increase, it will never be a smooth upward line. Instead, the economy will go through a series of ups and downs, or fluctuations in the short term. In later lessons, we will learn why it's never going to be a smooth line, but for now, you just need to know that fluctuations do occur. Let's take a closer look at these fluctuations. When real GDP is increasing, this is called expansion, because that means the economy is growing. This usually means that the economy is using more of its resources, but also prices are increasing, which is called inflation, but we'll learn more about that later. Of course, the economy can't keep growing forever, so eventually it hits a peak. This is when the economy is at its maximum GDP level, at least for that point in time. At this time, there are little to no unused resources. Everything is at full capacity, and prices are usually increasing at a very fast rate. On the diagram, this would be at the top of each expansion. And what goes up must come down. So then the economy sees a decrease in real GDP. This is called a contraction, or sometimes negative growth. This happens anytime the business cycle curve is going down. This means more and more resources are not being utilized. Inflation rates will have slowed and possibly even begun to deflate. If a contraction lasts longer than 6 months, this is called a recession. The bottom of the contraction is called the trough. This is the minimum level of GDP for that cycle, but also the time where things start to improve, since it signals the end of the contraction. But it's also the worst. The economy is operating very far from its optimal level, and most resources are not being used. This means that a lot of people won't have jobs since they aren't needed because production levels are so low. The cycle then repeats itself again and again. Now, using the word cycle implies that it's regular and predictable, but nothing could be further from the truth. Nobody knows how long each of the phases will last, and there's no way to tell how high the peaks will be and how low the troughs will be. This can make it quite scary for a person living in that society. As we will learn in later lessons, governments aim to try to stabilize these fluctuations to make things more predictable and less scary. But, of course, that's easier said than done.
So those are the short-term fluctuations, but this smooth dotted line here is the long-term growth trend. It's basically the short-term line, but zoomed out until it appears to be smooth. This long-term growth trend represents potential output, or potential GDP. To understand this better, we need to look at the relationship between GDP and unemployment. There will be a whole lesson on unemployment in a later video, but I'll just introduce some concepts here quickly so you can better understand the business cycle. The unemployment rate is the number of people that are willing and able to work but cannot find a job. As you can imagine, this number directly affects the performance of an economy. Generally speaking, as real GDP increases, unemployment falls, and as real GDP decreases, unemployment rises, which makes sense. As the economy produces more and more, firms need more workers. During a contraction, firms need less workers since they aren't producing as much. There's a term used in economics called full employment, and this is one that a lot of students get confused. That's because they think full employment means everyone has a job, meaning 0% unemployment. But that's not the case, and it's not very realistic either. At any given time, you're going to have at least some people that don't have jobs. There could be many different reasons for that, which we will go into later, but it's extremely unlikely that everyone in a society will have a job, so the unemployment rate will never be zero. Of course, economists and governments know that there is a natural rate of unemployment that will always exist. This could be a different number depending on the situation, but is usually around 4 to 5%. So to account for this, full employment actually means an unemployment rate of around 5%. So the potential output line shows us the level of output at the natural rate of unemployment, which again is called full employment. Notice how the short-term curve goes above the potential output line. This means that the economy is producing more than usual, and the unemployment rate is below the natural rate. And then during economic contractions, when the short-term line is below the potential output line, this means the economy is producing less than normal with an unemployment rate below the natural rate. Now, these periods of contraction and expansion are not necessarily good or bad. A common misconception for students is that a growing economy is good and a contracting economy is bad, but this isn't always the case. As we will learn later, there are advantages and disadvantages to both, and sometimes governments will actually try to contract their economy purposely to achieve certain macroeconomic objectives. So the business cycle helps economists and policymakers understand where the economy is at a given point in time and how far it is from its long-term potential. To sum up, the business cycle describes short-term rises and falls in real GDP, while the long-term growth trend represents potential output and sustained economic growth. Actual output fluctuates around this trend, sometimes above it and sometimes below it. Understanding this relationship is essential for analyzing unemployment, inflation, and government policy throughout the rest of macroeconomics. And that's all for today's lesson. Told you to be quick. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.